Well, the first thing that I want to say, perhaps on behalf of Oz and I, that we're both thrilled that so many of you are joining us. We have a great friend of Aspire from over the ocean joining us this evening, and that's Roberto, who's joining us this June from Beverly Hills. So Roberto, if you're listening, a big hello from all of us in the UK. And perhaps a wee message to all of you guys from the UK too, that Roberto is coming over to the UK for the very first time. He's just joining us this evening just to get to know our UK photographers and to learn from you guys too. So we've got a really lovely evening planned. This evening is going to be dedicated to, and my motivation is to really dedicate this 60 minutes to an insight into your business. We've got much to consider, much to ponder, so have your pens and pencils poised and blank pads ready, because both Oz and I want these webinars to be very informing, inspirational. We want to create a community that will join us this summer for our summer school and create a place that everybody feels that they can learn from. So tonight our 60 minutes are dedicated to your business, and we'll kickstart straight away.
Sure.
I want to start the session with a fabulous word of which I use frequently, and the word is intention, and I would encourage you all to jot this down and to write the word intention, because it plays such a significant role in the business. For all of us in business, and many of you may be joining the industry, think about the intention of your business. One of the biggest decisions we have to make when we go into business is deciding what that business will be and what is the intention of the business. What do you want, or what do you expect from the business? And it's such an important aspect to have within your thought process as you're running a business, to decide that you are in business to have a lovely living, to photograph beautiful clients, and to represent a product of which you're proud of. So as we travel through the session tonight, and certainly after the session, really start to think about the intention of the business. The business will treat you as you treat it, so treat it wisely. The second word I want to explore is decide, and this is a biggie for all of us in business. Decide how you want to run the business. Decide how you should be running the business. I'm never too casual with the business. I'm never casual with how I approach the business, and I would certainly not recommend you guys to be casual either. The business will give you a wonderful lifestyle, but it certainly wants nurturing. And for many of us who might have left from corporate careers, as I did, for many of you that may be building the businesses for the first time or have great experience in business, really decide how you're going to run this business, and run it, run it, run it.
Yep.
And then the second word is commit, and this is a biggie for me. You've got to make an emotional and physical commitment to the business, and you do become the guardian of the business. Many hear me use that word a lot. Really guard the business and become the guardian of your business, and to commit to that business spiritually also. And the final word, and this is our summer school in a nutshell, is marketing, 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 and a bit more marketing, is you've got to market the business. And over the next few moments that we're going to share together, and certainly this summer, we're going to really discover together as a community how best to market the business. And this word and this activity is certainly at the forefront of your mind as you wake up into the business every day. Really important. So I'm going to move on as you think about those.
Can I just interrupt for a second? Now, the first point which you talked about, deciding to run your business. Now, many photographers or would-be photographers, it's a very straightforward and easy decision for them that, oh, I took some pictures of a friend's wedding and they all loved it, so I want to become a photographer. So they'll go out and invest in some training kit, software, computers, etc. The point where they struggle is, where do I hand in my notice of my 9-to-5 job and become a professional photographer?
That's a really good
what
point.
At what point should one consider that, yes, now I'm ready for a full-time professional photography business?
Well, I suppose my answer isn't going to sound too sexy, but it all gets down to the numbers. I think you've got to do the number crunching. As dull and as boring as it might feel for all of us who are passionate about our craft, you've got to do the numbers. And I think the tipping point comes when your photography business may not be completely giving you the lifestyle you desire. However, it's covering your overheads. It's ensuring that you still have a roof over your head. It's keeping the children out of care. It's keeping you clothed and shoes on your feet. As soon as you feel confident that the business is covering your standard of living costs and you may have a little bit left in the slush fund, that is the time to leap. For those that do weddings have an advantage because often your, for want of a better word, bookings are in place maybe 3 months, 6 months ahead. You might have wedding deposits in the bank. You might have a forecast of weddings on the horizon. For those that do weddings, you're in a much more comfortable position because you can forecast your finances more smoothly. For those that do commercial or fashion and portraiture, you don't have the same level of luxury.
No.
It's important also, and I think anybody sensible in business would tell you this, is to pilot the business first. Run your business through a couple of seasons. Really know your business and you can do a couple of seasons. And all of the evidence will be in front of you daily. How you're managing the business, what's in the bank, what bookings do you have. And at that point, many face that quantum leap of deciding now is the time. And I'm sure Oz will agree, there is always that, is there ever a right time? Does it ever feel right?
No, I remember 11 years ago, my wife started this business as a part-time job. We had a little one at that point in time, and after 3 months, she told me to sell our printing business and let's get going, both of us, and we can make a go of it. Now, I don't know what you want to call whether it was a foolish decision or not, but we're still here 11 years later and never for a second regretted it. So it's also, you've got to go for it sometimes in life, and opportunities don't come along very often. And at that point in time, the digital technology was very, very new, and that's where we made the money. It was a wow factor when customers used to see the picture straight away. So when technology comes along and you get a chance, grab it with both hands and don't be reluctant or scared to take the jump.
And you know what? Being in business is for the courageous. You've got to take, sometimes we're going to talk about vision in a minute, but sometimes you've got to take a leap of faith and really have that belief in your business, belief in yourself, really trust your ambition, and you've sometimes just got to leap in and go for it. And, I think that for most of us that have done that, I can relate to that too, Oz. For most of us that have done that, I left a corporate world. Everybody thought when I did, I was having some sort of midlife crisis, setting up a business, moving my business up to Cumbria. They all thought it was really mad. And you know what? It's the best thing I've ever done. Best thing I've ever done.
Yeah. While we're on this question about deciding when to go full time, I've got a question from Jenny. I feel I don't have the numbers I would like, but struggle to put the time in with having a full-time job as well as a new business. That's a catch-22 situation, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Jenny, you're probably not alone in that question, and many will be grateful for you asking that question. That when you work full-time, there's one thing that I acknowledge, Jenny, that you're tight of, and that's time. And what we all do at the beginning, and many of us will relate to this, is we work sometimes the silly hours, and you work the silly hours at silly ends of the day. What I did when I created Aspire, I knew, Jenny, that I needed to search for extra time, and the only way I could seek that time was to do and give to the business as a gift silly hours. So the gift I gave the business was I wanted an 8th day, and I had to search for how and where that time would come from. So I decided, wrongly or rightly, but it was the best decision I ever made for the business. And ironically, Jenny, I'm still doing that now. I start my business day at 6 a.m. and from 6 till 7 o'clock, I dedicate an hour for social media. And this is what I do in my case. I have an hour between 6 and 7 for social media, and then I have an hour from 7 till 8 for marketing. So I gave myself every morning 2 hours of the day that I didn't initially have, because this business which I own generally runs from 9 in the morning till 5:30 in the evening. But I gave myself some time in the morning, and Jenny, that may be something that you could do. Is you could get up a little bit earlier, travel to Cafe Costa on your way into work, work on the business early on, just do a couple of hours before the day starts, and then at the end of the day, repeat the same. Because it's for you, and it's about you, and it's for your vision, they are the best hours in my day. I've nicknamed them my golden time, because I can see the productivity for those extra 2 hours I gave myself. And then I totted them all up, and I found myself my 8th day. And I would recommend that to Jenny too.
And the 2 hours in the morning, I mean, it's nice and quiet, and you can do 20 hours work in those 2 hours. I can assure you that.
You can. The other thing I did do, Jenny, is I switched off the alert that wouldn't let anybody else know I was on social media. I was on my mission. I didn't want to be on there to chat and to gossip. It was 2 hours of which I could dedicate to Aspire, and it's paid dividends to me.
Oh, Jenny's thanking you. That's a great help, and thanks for your, brilliant. Cool.
We're going to move on, and thanks to Jenny, it probably all is the perfect connection and time to move on, because it's very much connected to Jenny's thought, and that is vision. I say this, and I say it frequently. When you're in business, the only thing any of us can get behind is the vision that we have for our businesses. The only thing that we can serve and work hard for is the vision that we have for our outcome of our businesses too. Now, many of us as creatives, and I class myself as one too, would be classed as the daydreamers. Those that daydreamed out of windows whilst at schools, those that thought and think all the time in pictures. And this is what pays us as photographers a dividend of reward, because we're thinking about and we're visualizing all the time the business. Pay a lot of attention to, and certainly at this first point in the business, first point in the business and the first point of the year, pay a lot of attention to how and what type of clients you're visualizing yourselves working with. What is the vision of your perfect client? A little bit of homework for all listening this evening is create a profile for your perfect client. How old are they? And their ages may be varied. What do they do for livings? So you won't be looking for one sector purely. What are they searching for from a professional photographer? What type of houses or homes do they live in? Are they rural? Are they contemporary? Or are they a mixture of both? Start to form a very concise vision of your client of which you want to serve. Start to confirm a very strong vision of the type of business you want to own, the type of photography you want to do, the type of service you want to give. And this can be the best jobbing time when you do this thoroughly, because at the end of it, you should have a clear route map of what you're working for, how hard you need to work to gain it. And that is the bit that will get Jenny leaping out of bed in the morning, because all of a sudden you've got a purpose, and everybody in business should have a purpose, something to work for, something to become the slave of. And this is why you need to be very committed to it. The vision must be yours, and it becomes very unique to you. One photographer's vision will be very different from another's photographer's vision. You know, really think about also what expectation the business might have in that vision of you. And as I've said earlier, what expectation do you have of the business? Don't see this as fluffy. Don't see this as something that you can steer around. See this as one of the first and the most fundamental jobs to do, and regroup with. I regroup my vision every month. I regroup with what I'm working for every month, and it reminds me how to heighten the game, broaden my reach, and reach out for the business, because there's only one person this business needs to rely on for that vision, and that's primarily myself.
Yeah.
So I hope that helps Jenny, and I hope it helps others as too. The next thing I want to explore, if I could move on, and everybody's ready for me to move on, is values. I love this word, and I frequently use this when I explore and talk about being in business and how to be in business. There's a really important word here, and everybody listening this evening, I know there's many, I can see the attendance list there, is write down the word reputation. Write down the word reputation and give it real thought. Really think about what you want your reputation to stand for. Think about what your core values are. Every successful business needs core values. Think of 5, maybe just 5 core values that you can generate business from. If somebody was to describe your business, what words would they use? And this is a great exercise to do for everybody in business. A really good exercise to do is to visualize and imagine a client has only had a consultation with you. They've met you for 5 or 10 minutes. They've maybe only met you for 30 minutes. They've met you for a short volume of time. And in that short volume of time, they're going to walk away and they're going to have a conversation about you. What would you like them to say? What words and language would you like them to use and attach to your business? And really think about the conversations people will have, and it will help you find your core values. And then the next task, imagine somebody's had your photographic services, you've photographed their children, their newborn or wedding, and think about from the shoot, they've not even seen a picture, they're heading home back to their family and friends, what would you anticipate them saying about you? About the way you managed the shoot, about the way you treated them, the children, who you are as a photographer. What language will they use? There may be common threads from the first thread, there may be common threads throughout the final stage, but what words would they use? And then finally, they've had a viewing, they've had a sale, they've seen the pictures, they've cried for all of the right reasons. As they head away, maybe with the order of their dreams, what are they saying about your business? What are they saying about you? And from those paragraphs and from those sentences, start to lift out your core values. What do you want your business to represent? I have mine, and I'm quite open to share mine with you. My core values for Aspire are, I want everybody that has an Aspire experience to feel educated. That's a big part of the experience of which I want to deliver. I want them to feel the experience was stylish, it was creative, so I ensure that that's in every aspect of the business. And those 5 core words really help ensure that they become visual values. And your reputation is always based from them. And it's the one thing that we nurture ourselves as entrepreneurs and marketeers, is the values in our business, and our reputation will be based from them. And it's such an important job to do.
And these values represent a very small percentage of the photography side of the business, because, as you said very rightly, what was the experience all about? How did you deal with your clients? How did you welcome them? How did you do the shoot? Even though they have not seen the images yet, you want them to feel really excited and go home buzzing and looking forward to seeing the pictures, don't you?
Yeah, and it's funny, us photographers who we take through this process in a lot of detail often use words like, I want my clients to say that was the best experience they'd ever had.
Yeah.
They feel that the pictures will be beautiful, and I always say, well, let's now put an action to that. How can we ensure this is the best experience they have ever had? Well, we need to get to know them. We need to ensure that our systems are in place. We need to ensure that we have time with our clients on the phone. The notes of which we take for that client on behalf of that client are very concise. And then we will be able to, with real authority, offer a great experience by every action of which we make. And it's the same when photographers say, I want them to say that the images are absolutely beautiful, they exceeded my expectations. Then we go out to honour that value.
Yeah.
Sometimes through education, sometimes through our disciplines with Photoshop and Lightroom, but we go out of our way and we say, if that's one of my values, everything I do is to serve that word, beautiful pictures. So you're absolutely right. Whatever language of which you form on behalf of the business, and we are forming it, whichever language of which you form for the business, really study it this evening, folks. Really just study what you've written down and then turn it into positive actions on behalf of the business. And it will reward you emotionally, and it will really ensure that you keep out of mischief. It will keep you on track on behalf of the business.
Brilliant.
So are you okay to move on?
Yes, let's move on.
Okay. The next thing, gosh, I could spend a day on this, so don't indulge me and don't let me away.
I know it's one of your favorite subjects, isn't it?
Oh, is it? So I hope nobody's got a pizza in, because it'll be cremated in 10 minutes, because I'm on brand. I love talking about brand, passionately believe in it. Many, many photographers and many others in business too ask me, is it essential to have a brand? Is it essential to have a professionally designed brand? And my answer is always the same, vital. A very, very well created brand will reward you on many levels. It will reward you, the photographer, because you'll stand alongside it, you'll feel more confident about the business because of it, and it will have the strength to generate business. And there are great brands out there that represent this case. Apple, Pret-a-Manger, fabulous brands out there. Why do we pay homage to their businesses? Yes, because of the product, but also yes, because of the brand. So spend time thinking about, and do this each year. I'm in this process too at the moment with Aspire. Spend time each season thinking about your brand, not necessarily playing with it or harming it in any way, but thinking about how is the brand generating business. Because if you have a good brand, that good brand will generate your business, and it should match your values, it should match your vision, and your brand must be able to communicate with the type of client that you want to attract. So think about that profile you've created and imagine other brands that inspire your tribe, your clients. Imagine other brands that inspire them, and how will your business brand bench against them? And I often say this to photographers, find a brand hero. I have many, many brand heroes. Harper's Bazaar is one of mine. It's at the top of my list. I love Harper's Bazaar as a brand.
Yeah.
Apple's on my list, and for completely differing reasons.
Yeah.
Pret-a-Manger's on my list. They're my brand heroes. Start to think about who your brand heroes are and then live by them. Constantly say to yourself, well, if my business was Harper's Bazaar, what would they do in a situation like this? Would they connect to this business? Would they market with this business? And if the answer is simply no, you're off brand. So think about, as you are building the business, where is your business best placed? What is going to enhance the brand's profile, and how well can you work for it? So should you create and generate a brand ID? Definitely, definitely. And think about sometimes what can be brand diluters. I'll share a funny story with all, because those that know me well will probably have heard this story before. I am really fussy about the type of coffee we have in Aspire, because it's a brand benchmark. I am fussy about the biscuits. I am fussy about the hand wash, the quality of the towels, because it will either heighten the brand's performance or dilute it. And those that know me really well will know I'll have a seizure if I ever saw a Jammy Dodger in the building. As cute and sweet as they are, they're not Harper's Bazaar. Yeah. So I would never have a Jammy Dodger in the building, as cute and sweet as they are, and I buy them for the kids. But I wouldn't have them within Aspire, because it's not Harper's Bazaar, it's not Apple, the Jammy Dodgers. So think about all the things that you surround your business with. albums, frames. Think about the language of which you use. Many of us, I'm sure, hover around Facebook. Many, I'm sure, operate our business through Facebook. But think about when you are doing that, the messages you post, the pictures you share, how you communicate on that tool. How is it profiling and affecting your brand? It's very, very important, because it could so easily start to take the brand in the wrong direction. You know, my partner has a fantastic artisan bakery, and we're constantly talking about the food menu and what should be on the menu. And many a time in a week, people say, do you do bacon butties? And I think I'd rather die before I see a bacon butty in this business, because it's not a brand and it ain't artisan. You know, and I'm often saying that to him, if it doesn't feel like Gordon Ramsay, we can't have it in this house. Because it could dilute and take an artisan bakery and make it become a cafe, and that would be criminal.
You don't want. Now, obviously, with the big brands, they have got unlimited funds and budgets and an army of, you know, marketeers and PR people. For someone as a one-man band operating the photography business, how can they get on the road to branding themselves with low or no budget?
It's a brilliant.
Do they need to spend thousands and thousands, or they can get started with nothing?
Hundreds. Yeah, it's a brilliant question, Orson. Everybody really should applaud you for asking that, because it's a really important question for all setting up a business. We haven't got thousands and thousands of pounds to throw at it. We're not Apple. No. I'm actually going to tell all of you. And if you are in business and you've never done this, still do the exercise, because it will help steer your business, or it will help refine your brand, or it will help you regroup with the business. So how you do it is this. First thing, and all creative photographers will so enjoy and indulge in this task, is create yourself a scrapbook, a physical scrapbook. Create yourself a physical scrapbook, and create yourself also a Pinterest account. Many are already on Pinterest. I know many listening this evening follow Aspire on Pinterest. If you're not on Pinterest already, Oz and I'll invite you, and we'll get you pinning and we'll get you on Pinterest, because it will really help you develop a really good brand. The first thing to do, and this is what people pay thousands to get people like me to do, but I'm going to tell you guys how to do it for free. First thing to do is think about texture and think about patterns. Think about font and think about typography. Think about images. Photography and other things, food, interiors, furnishings, etc., etc. Think about colour. And finally, think about photography. Think about the type of photography that inspires you. And on Pinterest, have a texture and pattern board, have a font and typography board, have an image and colour board. Just with me. Have an image and colour board, and have a photography board, and start through Pinterest collecting pictures that really, really inspire you. Big tip. At the forefront of your mind, have that profile of a client, because when you get to things like, especially if you're a marketeer like myself, if you get to things like font and typography, you will get totally hypnotized by what you see. You think, oh my God, I love that font. Oh my God, I love that font. Oh my God, I love that font. And you have to stop yourself and say, you know what, I love that font, but it reminded me of a Jammy Dodger. I only can love the fonts that can speak and communicate to my clients. There are amazing fonts out there. And some of them are cutesy and childlike, and some of them are grown up and sophisticated, and some of them are a little bit edgy. So only be tempted to pin the fonts that match you. And then physically, all of those boards and images that you really like in the end, screen grab them and pin them in your scrapbook, and break your scrapbook down into the same headings: colour, patterns, fonts, typography and photography. Try and categorise it, but use magazines as well. Buy magazines that match your brand, and buy a interior magazine, buy a house magazine, fashion magazine, travel magazine, food magazine, and buy something that inspires you, and tear and rip them up and start to create yourself a scrapbook. That's the first step. And what you're forming there is your visual identity. You're forming, and the most important thing for all of us to have in business, whether you're a photographer, whether you're a baker, whether you are a florist, is an identity and an opinion. So you're forming your first step of an opinion, and all of that could be read by a really good designer very, very well. But we'll come back to that. So we have to read it ourselves.
Yeah.
And then the second job, and this is not as sexy and not as exciting, is every business needs language and every business needs a voice.
Yeah.
Think about every arm of your business on your menu. So whether it's babies, family photography, weddings, food, commercial. And from the heart, and nobody can do this for you. A friend could interview you, but it's got to come from your soul. And that is so important. There's nothing worse for me than to see a soulless business. If it comes from you and the inner you, and it comes from the absolute core of who you are as a photographer, you will really find your unique voice. Now, this will help you on so many levels. The next time you're out marketing and somebody says, oh, tell me a little bit about your business, you will let it river out of you like poetry, and it will swim out of you because you really know your business. And this is about getting to know your business. And secondly, who else will be rewarded? Your websites, your blogs, your business card, how you talk about you in business. Find the business voice. Speak from the heart. Imagine you're talking to a client about your photography, and they don't want to know you're shooting raw, they don't want to know about your white balance, they don't want to know any of that. They want to know, what will you do for me and my newborn baby?
Yeah.
And this is a really important aspect to share with all listening this evening, that how you speak to a lady about her baby, and that baby may be a first or a second born, is very different to how you would speak to a client who has a family of teenagers. You wouldn't sell it in the same way if it was another product. So really find your language. So once you've got your vision boards done, go to a creative space, start to think about each arm of the business, and let the language fall. And what you've done there as a brand builder is you've looked at two aspects of the business. You've looked at the visual aspect and you've looked at the business dialogue. And they're the two things your business needs. Go back to your scrapbook at the end of it and learn from it. Take some screen grabs. Run a few things through a few systems that will help unveil what is your colour palette, what is the big message that's leaping through, and start to tear out the main core. And in the end, you might be left with 3 fonts, 4 colours. You might be left with 6 pictures that are everything about your business, and then you build the business from it. People in the industry, there's a lot of people out there online that can really help photographers. There's a great designer that spends a lot of time on Facebook supporting photographers, and if you haven't touched base yet with Melissa Love, do so. She's a fabulous person, a real friend to all of us in the industry. She's incredible, and she will really help many of us create great brands. But what she would always say for you, to all of you first, is I need your scrapbook, I need your language, I need to know that you know the business. And that would be the first step, definitely.
Brilliant.
So I hope that's helped.
Yeah, brilliant. Invaluable advice you've just given is absolutely superb. And in fact, somebody has just sent in a comment about Melissa. Jenny, in fact, has sent in the comment that she has worked with Melissa and she highly recommends her for the work she has done for her brand, which you recommended her.
Oh, well, Jenny and Melissa would appreciate that comment too, and I know I do, because I do know that she is a real friend to all of us in the industry, and she helps many photographers of which I work with, and she's passionate about our craft. And that's another, I'm really glad Jenny brought that up, because that's another thing that's really important. If you are going to invest in a graphic designer, ensure that they understand your business.
Yeah.
What really works very, very well for the public sector as a designer doesn't necessarily translate into our sector. We are dealing with the consumer. This might sound a little bit controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway. Our client tends to be the female. Now, ours is a married man, so I'm sure he's worked this out already. The females, and to all you boys out there, I say this to you, the females in our world are generally the decision makers. Even if you think you're in control, we managed to let you think that. I mean, I will share this with you. I've been painting, doing up some furniture at home, and I rang my partner to just talk through the paint colours. They were already in the trolley. I just thought, as a courtesy, if that's okay. Women are shocking manipulators.
Yeah, I mean, I never shop, so I wouldn't know anyway. So let Kharawala get on with the shopping. But you're right. All our portrait clients are 99.99%. In fact, 100% are women.
Yeah, and women are making the decisions. So I'm not suggesting everybody that we have to create fluffy pink brands, and that's the only sort of benchmark or us girlies have. Think about my brand heroes. They're all very different, and they all get my investment. So you're building a brand that has to attract the female market, can still attract the male market, but primarily it's women that are making the decision about the portrait chef. So think about it very carefully, and think about the language of which you use. That's really important, which actually nicely leads me on to the tools of our trade. So I'll just click through to this, if that's okay.
Catherine, can I just ask you, I've got quite a few comments about Melissa. Do you have a website to hand I can send everyone?
I do. Her website is, it's called www.stylemeup. Style Me Up. And if anybody can't find it, if you email me later, .com, I'll send you a link. She's on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll send it to her.
Because she's a great communicator. And you'll find her through Style Me Up.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I've got a couple of other people have said, Lee has said, agree, Melissa really is very good. Donna has said about Melissa, and Rathia has said Melissa is a wonderful designer and a true friend of the creative. So, yeah, lots of recommendations from Melissa. Yeah.
What I love about this industry, and it's perhaps an experience that Oz and I are sharing together as well, and I will say this to those that are coming into the industry, is it is packed with people that will support your business. And we are very fortunate. The photography industry is tiny. We are a tiny community. Everybody knows everybody. If you know somebody else. And many of which you meet in the industry will be so supportive to you. And if you can find I call them angels that will angel for you. And this is one of mine. And if you can find people like us and I have found, each of these businesses that will support you, you're on the road to success, because it's good to have friends in business. It really is. So, show team, tools of the trade.
Yeah.
All of us need our show team in place to ensure that the business performs. What really is important, and even if you're in business now and you've got your brand in place, you've got your show team in place, this evening or this week, allocate a little bit of time to this. Lay out all of your brand, from business cards to brochures, print off your blog, screen grab your Facebook page, screen grab your website page, and lay it all on one table and ask this question. Does it all look like it came from the same family? Does it all look like it belongs to the same business? And secondly, pick up the business card and say to yourself, what objective does it look like it has? What is it selling? And who is it selling to? And write these answers instinctively down on a post-it. And then pick up your brochure and say to yourself, what is it selling and who is it selling to?
Mm.
And do the same on your blog. Go back through a series of blogs and say to yourself, what is it selling and who is it selling to? Then travel through your website and do the same with social media. I call this housekeeping. You're just doing some basic housekeeping to ensure that they are working hard enough for you, and the investment of which you've made to have them produce is going to reward you by generating clients. And then relook at them again through the eyes of the marketeer and say to yourself, okay, what is the objective of this business card? Where is it best placed? And who should I ensure has it? Because there's nothing worse or more of a crime in business is to have beautiful brochures, a lovely blog that nobody visits, a beautiful website that gets totally neglected. You don't want to do that. You want to go through and do this again monthly. Is go through each of your tools and think, what does it say it's selling? Certainly with social media, visit your page weekly and assess your own activity. What have you been posting? What have you been talking about? What have you been preaching? What have you been sharing? What does it say your business does? I sometimes see a lot of businesses where they'll have one slant towards weddings or another slant towards portraiture. And you must, if you do weddings and portraiture equally, ensure that even if you're doing more weddings than you are doing portraiture, but you are equally wanting to do both, they should have equal presence in your marketing strategy. So even if at the moment you've got more weddings on the go, or at the moment you've got more baby shoots on the go, make sure on the windows of your business you are promoting equal presence of all arms of the business. Because what you never want to look like is a wedding photographer that just does a bit of portraiture, or a portrait photographer that just does a little bit of weddings. It's very important that you make the tools of your trade work very, very hard for you. And going back to your business card, there's some great ideas out there at the moment. Something else for our audience tonight to perhaps have a stare at. There's a great service that One Vision have just recently launched called VIP.
Okay.
And it's Vision Impressions Design. They've just started doing all of our printing, and I'm sharing this with everybody because I really believe in acknowledging the heroes of our trade.
Yeah.
And they've just taken over doing all of our printing. And let's not tell them this, folks. So for you guys listening, this is for your ears only and not for One Vision's. They are fabulous. They are efficient, and my God, are they cheap? But let's not tell them that. I can't get over how much their fees are for these beautiful things of which we need to trade.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell them that. I'm just going to enjoy their service.
Yeah.
They are incredible. But because they have such a broad range, you've got to stop yourself from getting a little bit overexcited and a bit giddy. I saw them at Focus on Imaging, and to be honest, I could have had a soft book, hard book, big book, little book, every book. They were gorgeous. And what I have to say to myself is actually, what book do I need? What is its job? What is its purpose? So when you see business cards that can be concertinaed into 3 concertinas or 6 concertinas, say to yourself, actually, what do I want the front page to do? What will the second page be saying? What will the third page be saying? To really ensure that you don't overspend, because you can, as Oz rightly says, you can spend your budgets on marketing in other areas.
Yeah.
And do the same for your brochures. Really ensure that what you invest in is going to work hard for you in the community, and it's going to sell the services of which you want to serve. It's very important that you do that, packed with great authentic language.
Cool.
And the same for blogs. I'm passionate about photographers blogging. I love the fact that we have an advantage over all in business. The advantage we have as photographers overall in business is what makes a successful blog is pictures. And wow, we have that to our fingertips daily. Really make your blog work for yourself, and make your blog becoming your community a place of expertise. We are professional photographers, so our role in the community of which we work is to present ourselves with intelligence, as present ourselves as those with knowledge, to present ourselves as the inspirers, present ourselves as the creatives. And we can do all of that on our blogs. Become an authority in your community on photography and really represent your craft and the skills of which you've mastered within your craft through your Facebook page and definitely through your blog. You know, I'm just an absolute, gosh, we could spend a whole evening on this, Oswald. Don't panic, I won't.
Well, I've got a question from Kiran.
Okay.
And the thing is, any advice for a reluctant blogger? I have a website, Facebook presence, etc., but the thought of a blog fills me with dread. Is it really essential?
Oh, and who was this from, Oz?
Kiran.
Kiran. Oh, well, the bad news is, Kiran, yay, it is essential. First thing to consider is what bits do you dread? We are visual people, and we're not often those that want to share our knowledge through the word. So if it's the words and coming up with the story of which you dread, be a visual blogger. Think about each picture of which you want to share and show on your blog. And keep your image range down to around about 10 images, 12 max. Don't be tempted to put catalogues and catalogues and catalogues of pictures upon your blogs, because sadly people won't look at them, and actually that will dilute the post, not enhance the post. If you're doing, and let's make one up, I'll dedicate this to Kieran, let's make a beautiful blog post up. Let's imagine that you want to tell the story of a florist, and you want to do a blog on the craft of which a florist works within. And the story that you're going to tell is a florist getting prepared for Valentine's. I'm going to make this up. And you want to show the pictures, you want to share and show pictures of the story behind the scenes of the florist. You want to share and show how a florist works, really representing her craft beautifully and with the greatest level of respect. I'm sure Kieran could come up with 10 pictures that would tell her tale, and underneath each picture would be a beautiful, respectful description of her story and her life. Now, the beauty of being the storyteller in the community is that florist has a following, and that florist has her own community of friends, and she will share a respectful post with her community, just as the florist was. So start to think about your blog as you would a magazine. Think about the seasons and do stories. Tell the story of the 10 most romantic locations in your area. And if you're a bit in dread of blogging through words, perhaps visually express yourself. So think, wow, if I was looking for the top 10 most romantic locations in my area, what would they be? Where would they be? There's some really good links you could have in there, because some of them might be hotels, some of them may be tourist attractions. And do your top 10 romantic locations. Do things like ask a wedding planner, can you tell the story of how she does her works behind a wedding day? Naturally, obviously not a wedding day you're shooting. Tell the story of a chef. Tell the story of, I mean, vicars are a great one to interview, and they're often the best photograph. Interview a vicar and say, you know, what would be the 10 best hymns to have at a wedding? I mean, I'm a churchgoer, and I know there are killer hymns, the sort of hymns that could kill an atmosphere in 10 minutes. And I'm sure vicars know what their best hymns are for a wedding day and what the worst hymns are. Shoot the vicar's story. Remake a blog, if you dread it, to be your creative platform.
I've got quite a few people commenting the same comment, that they find it extremely hard to blog and what to blog about. Well, you can get a copywriter once you build up a rapport with the copywriter, and then you can put it across to him or her what you would like. They can produce the copy in a language which suits your branding, and all you need to do is copy and paste and put some pictures with it.
You can, and I think that is something that I would highly recommend. And that copywriter might be a graphic designer, as well. They might be in marketing as well. They might be in PR. And they might actually be looking for a photographer that can provide their business, their blogs, their clients imagery, and there may be a bit of skill swapping required. They do a blog for you, you shoot their blog for them, and there could be an exchange of goodwill. Tomorrow, I don't have it with me now, so I'm not sure, I'm clear of the full title, but a wee while ago I bought a book on blogging, and it was called Creative Blogging. And I've got to say, in all honesty, I'm a real big believer in blogging. So, Kieran, I could give you a long list of blog ideas to keep you at mischief for 12 months. But I bought the Creative Blogging book thinking, is there a trick I'm missing? And I'm a great believer in that always. Is there a trick I'm missing? And if there is, I want to know about it because I want to implement it within the knowledge of which I share on my own business. And I'll put the title on my Facebook page tomorrow, because I've actually dissected the book down and taken a lot from it to how I can enhance SEO, how I can make better connections, and other blogs. It's packed with blogs that will inspire you. Ironically, there's a lot of photography blogs in there, and I will share that because it might help those that dread it, because blogging for us is a real gift, and it's a case of finding your tone, finding your language. The other dread many in business have, and thinking about somebody like Jenny, who's juggling a full-time job as well, is time. Now, if you were to ask us theoretically, theoretically, you could do with blogging twice a week. Physically, those that have lives and don't want the children to end up in care, I would say every 10 days and you'll be forgiven because of the quality. When you do blog, it is vital that you share. Nobody is going to be hovering around your blog, so it's important that you share it on Facebook, share it with those that have been involved, share it in your business communities, share it with those that are connected in the pictures, whether it's hotel backgrounds, stylists, makeup artists. Don't keep the blog a secret. Share would be my tip.
Brilliant.
And sort of the next two areas are website and social media. You know, they are your showgirls, and certainly through both, really think about the imagery of which is going to be placed on your Facebook and your Twitter and your LinkedIn and your websites, because they're all very visual. Really think about the images and how they're going to represent the business. Think about images that will attract those desired clients you have. Think about the roles of which they're going to play in the business, and really work hard at making sure that they protect you and they help your business grow. You know, this is something that we're going to come back to, and we're going to come back to it because it's so important to you. They all must have a purpose, and we constantly must make sure that all of them are working hard enough on behalf of the business, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I'm going to move on, so I don't build too much of a reputation for overrunning and burning pieces.
I'm sure nobody will mind that.
Oh, well, that's okay. That's okay. And the final stride of which we'll share together is this, that our title in the industry is social photographer. So I often say to photographers, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, Kieran, to my fellow budding bloggers too, the key's in the title. We have to develop a very, very sociable business. And it's very important that your business is socializing in the community, socializing and developing relationships in the community, and socializing through your profile. You know, very recently, and wow, were we rewarded because of this, very recently the Brownies developed a photography badge.
Yeah.
And a little bit of me went, whippy! Well done, Brownies! And you know, when the Brownies have got a photography badge, nearly all of the photographers of which I know could get involved in their local brownie group and help the brownies achieve that photography badge, and just think about the parents you'll meet. Think about the gratitude of which you'll receive. Think about the communities of which you'd bump into by doing something as simple as helping your local brownies gain their photography badge. And they will remember you, and they will be your next generation of clients. Are we way off? But you never know. Think about the role you play in the community, whether it's community online or whether it's community of which you can connect to through schools, through business groups, through WY, through any form of connection that threads you back in the community. It's very important that people know your business exists. And perhaps say this to yourself, and this is a really great task to give the business. Say it to yourself at the end of the week, and do it this Friday, and let me know how you're getting on. Say to yourself this Friday, who knows me now? Who knows me now that didn't know me at the beginning of the week? Who knows I'm in business that didn't know me at the beginning of the week? You get to the end of the week and you say, this person, this person, this person, this person. My next quest for you would be, and what are you doing about that relationship? Have you emailed them? Have you friended them on Facebook? Have you sent them a quick acknowledgement about how inspired you are about their business? Say that to yourself. Who knows me now that didn't know me at the beginning of the week? And if you get into week 2 and you say to yourself, nobody, your business is crying out and screaming out to you to start to do something about it, because it's not actually treading water at this stage, it's going backwards. It's very, very important that the community know you. And then the next one is have a relationship, and have relationships in the community. You know, I do a lot of work for the schools in Cumbria, for sixth form groups, for those wanting to develop business skills, photography groups. You know, go and do a talk at the Camera Club. They're not necessarily your competitors. They could be your clients too. Really develop your profile. Yeah. It's so important not to be shy in business.
It's amazing how very few photographers concentrate on marketing their business to the local community, especially. There are lots of ways, you know, on Facebook advertising, we run ads, and it costs us about £4 or £5 a week, and we only target the local area. I don't want to advertise my studio in Timbuktu. Exactly. So why would I waste my money over there? You know, as long as and the good thing about Facebook or Google AdWords is until and unless someone clicks on your ad, you don't get charged. So you don't pay a single penny. So it's like putting your brand or your logo or your company website in front of people's Facebook feed every day for free. And then it starts to build on them, because every time they think of a photographer, they think of you. Yeah. So, you know, there are lots of ways, and, you know, brownies is a great example you just said. Even little trade shows and, you know, village fetes, these are the places where you need to go. They are very low cost. To get a table or get a stand there, it costs you 10-15 pounds, but the leads you get are just unbelievable.
And it can, you know, play such a significant role in the business, and don't underestimate, you know, the importance of it. You know, really go out of your way to be proactive in the community. I can, hand on heart, probably come up with a series of people of which we've gained within the business, or Aspire has gained from, because of all that we do in the community. And get a reward 10 times over by being involved. And, you know, I say this because this will really help all of you prepare yourself for Oz and I's summer school this May and June, because we're going to talk a lot about marketing. We're going to talk a lot about making bold steps in the marketplace, and we're going to talk a lot about the how to do it. You know, tonight was very much of an overview for all of you, and to get you going, and to get you warmed up, and to get you started. But when we start the series in May and June, we really will be rolling the sleeves up and looking for some big impact into the business, and it's so important that we do that together. because it will really reward you on many, many levels. You know, I'm a great believer in leaving nothing to chance. This won't be the first time I share this, and I know it won't be the last. You know, leaving nothing to chance. Every time you stride forward with that business, say to yourself, what have I done today? Really analyse it. And what have I left to chance? And as soon as you think about the brand, the community, client tribe, your language, your profile, say to yourself, I can't afford to leave anything to chance, and really work on that. It's really important. So our 60 minutes, as ever, have flown. What Oz and I did do was dedicate a few moments for any questions, bit of natter. We really want this community that Oz is creating to really work for everybody. So your view, your opinion, your questions are really important to both of us.
And without, help from people like yourselves, I can't do it on my own, and it's great to have you on board and share your knowledge, your expertise, your experience for everyone to listen in. And I've got so many comments for you, Catherine, about how inspiring you've been and how brilliant this webinar has been. But let's go on to some questions, and we'll try and answer as many as we can. I can't promise we'll be able to go through this long list, but let's start with the first come, first out. Emily, her problem is that she's been running her business for a while at a lower price bracket, and now she wants to sell, I'm presuming it's for weddings, albums instead of images on discs. So how can she get clients spending more with her?
Well, it's a really good motive to have, and a credit to you for having that motive. The first thing that I would look at is your sales tool. People buy what they see. So look at the album. And if you don't already have an album, it's so important that you create an album. If this was for weddings, within that album, have at least 140 images in it. Don't be tempted to have within your album the minimum. Have the maximum. So if your vision and your dream album would have 140 images in, have 140 images. If your dream and vision is 190, have 190 images in. Because you need to give your clients a benchmark to aspire towards. The first thing is you need an album. The second thing is you need to know the album like the back of your hand. And as you are designing the album, have within the album a series of storytelling images. And within the album, have a series of, and I call them your wow chapter heading images.
Yeah.
And they are images that go, wow, this is a professional photographer at hand. And they blow the socks off your potential clients. And those wow images are the images that you must have a story behind. So as you're sharing your albums with your clients, you're saying, let me just tell you a little bit about this image. And what you're doing is you're giving each image in the album value. So clients can start to see the value of the storybook and the album. The other thing that I would do is I would start to share very visually your albums through social media. There's a brilliant photographer out there that's recently done this, and you may already, I'm not sure, be a friend of hers. But I saw this week Boo Marshall, fabulous photographer from Norfolk, share and show a folio album that she'd recently had designed, and it had a wow factor within it. Have a look, let's learn from each other here. Start to ensure that when you're designing your album pages, photograph them, share and show those album pages on your website. Blog about it, rave about it, have client stories about your album. Really know your album. And then the final thing is, from the first point of contact with the client on the phone, even before they've booked you for their wedding date, speak album speak. Talk about the storybook. Most clients, and use words like, most of my clients have an album. I'd like to share my albums with you. They always tell a story, they're unique to every wedding. Speak about albums from the first point of contact through consultation, through the pre-wedding shoot, and then on that first viewing after they've returned from their weddings, do a viewing and share your albums again. Again, it goes back to nothing to
yeah. So now, Mary. Yes, thank you very much. Mary is asking, how often should you blog? Once a week, once a month?
It's a lifestyle thing, Mary. I would say for many in business are parents, and many in business have other aspects of the business that they're nurturing along. You know, many photographers work as solos. You know, so we're selling, we're marketing, we're doing the accounts. We have many hats of which we wear, and because of that, I would say 7 to 10 days is a good pace. And it's not an ideal pace. One would say that you should do it more and do it more frequently. However, not at the cost of other elements of the business. And this is a balancing game for all of us. So 7 to 10 days, share it well, and you'll be forgiven by most. I hope that's answered it well enough.
Brilliant. And Mary has also put in another question, and it's a really good one. How would you say is the best way to build your confidence?
Oh, that's a lovely. That is, you know, I would say, Mary, the person to pay attention to the most is really echoing what Oz is saying here, she clients. And I would, at the end of every single viewing, you know, we're going to talk about timelining on one of the webinars and how to structure the business so it ensures that the business generates business. One of the things we're going to talk about is the client records and systems of which you keep. And I think that on that final viewing, when you share your images, really pay attention. And as you're listening to the clients, listen to what they are saying. So when they say things like, oh, that's really beautiful, they mean, oh, that's really beautiful. When they say, gosh, you've really captured her, they genuinely mean that. So, you know, pay attention to all of the language of which your clients use. And then remember also to learn from that and utilize that language in the business. And my other tip is this. I know this is something that we do once a year, but if you need to do it monthly, everybody needs to do it monthly, hey, do it monthly, is every time you have a thank you card, save it and photocopy it. Every time you get a thank you email, save it and print it out. Every time somebody says something magical about your photography and your work, the collections of your work, screen grab it and print it out. And then once a month, grab a huge sheet of paper. And Mary, I'll presume you need a huge sheet of paper. And write down all the keywords of which your clients use. And then pin it up. And this should be your benchmark and your map for the following month. And when clients say, tell me a little bit about your work, you think, I can tell you everything about my work because my clients are telling me about my work. And remind yourself of all of the thank yous. We do it just once a year at the end of the year to remind ourselves of how we've been performing and to ensure that those key words or those client indicators, they are called, become a part of our marketing strategy for the following year. And Mary, there's nothing wrong with you doing that monthly. Really pay attention to what your clients are saying. And the last thing I want to say is, and when people compliment you, believe it. Really believe it.
Carlo has sent in, this is fantastic. I've paid for days marketing help and never had as much as this.
Oh.
Thank you, Carlo, for your nice comment. I had a very interesting question from Ben. Yes, I found it. How do I maintain positivity when it gets tough?
Oh, then it goes back to that vision word, I suppose. It's very hard when the only thing we have to follow as leaders is our vision. And I think I'm going to give you a few tips because it's important, and this may be a thread that Ben triggers with others listening this evening. It's important for creatives to remain positive because we don't react well to negativity. I believe that all creatives are formed in such a special way Our gifts make us see things that others will never see, and because of it, we are wired very sensitively.
Yeah.
It's very important that you surround yourself with things that make you feel positive. It's very important that you have around you things that make you feel positive. So the environment in which you work is very, very important. And this isn't about me saying that Ben needs lights around his dressing room and all of a sudden we're going to make Ben and others very precious, because it's not about that. It's about photographers being very in tune with environment, with atmosphere, with the scents and tones. And because of that, it is important that you protect yourself and you surround yourself with things that make you feel positive. Yeah. We don't react well to negativity, so let's not place ourselves in those positions. This is an important thing to share, and I hope that those listening this evening don't mind me sharing it, and I'm sharing it on behalf of all of you. I would say, Ben, be careful also in the industry. What hurts me greatly, really hurts me as a fellow in the industry, is when I see, and I hope you all don't mind me saying this, as our community, it hurts me when I see photographers being mean to each other.
Yeah.
And that hurts me greatly, because it takes a lot of courage to share a picture. It takes a lot of courage to place a picture.
Yeah.
And if you feel, and there are groups out there, Ben, I see them myself, and it frightens me and upsets me. And I'll tell you all a story. I'm an avid user of LinkedIn as well. And about 3 weeks ago, a young 23-year-old, because I checked her profile, posted on a LinkedIn group her new blog. First time she blogged when she posted it. And she said that, first time I've blogged. And I believe in blogging. Yep. And so I thought, yeah, I'm going to visit your blog. I'm going to serve you well as a fellow in the industry. So I visited a blog. And I thought, when I get a moment, I'm going to thoroughly answer this young lady's, will you all look at the blog? I want some positive feedback. And she actually asked for positive feedback. I went back in the evening and I noted a comment, and it said by a fellow photographer, what was the purpose of your blog? And I thought, that's helpful. That's going to really build her morale. So I naturally posted a very positive comment and private messaged her as well. So Ben, my tip would be, as it was to this wee girl too, don't hang out or post in places that could hurt, because it's not good for your business, it's not positive, it's not constructive, it's not going to feed the business in any way at all, so don't go there. It's not even constructive. Place yourself in places that are constructive, and this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ben, I would also like to give you a little tip. You need somebody like Catherine, a business coach. No, it's true, Catherine. It is so very true that it's very easy when everything is going well and it's rosy and you've got lots of business. You don't need any help. But when things are tough and you need to get out of a rut, a business coach, a mentor will help you with your mindset. It's all in the mind. You will see every sports person will say, why do world number ones have a coach? Because they're already world number one and they are on the top of the game, because they will have a coach, a mentor, and a full team behind them to maintain their level of mind fitness. It's all in the mind, because it's very easy to give up and throw in the towel. But they don't, because they're so strong. Even on that last point or the last minute of that match, they will keep on fighting. And this is what a coach will do to you.
And it's true, you know, there is a lot of mind setting. And actually, Ben, I do a lot of mentoring for a lot of photographers. And I do have a mentoring program, and it is a lot of mind setting. It's exercising your business thinking, and it's been really focused on yourself. And it is very hard. You know, there isn't many a week that goes by that I don't talk to, not necessarily just photographers, but those in business that are finding it perhaps hard on the cold face in business, finding it challenging. You know, finding it hard to regroup with their business. And we do a lot of mindset training and a lot of coaching, because it is important that you have that support and just protect yourself.
Yeah. I'm just going to put it through a couple of more questions, Catherine, and then we'll call it an evening. This is from Kirsty. Is there a website or Facebook page in the UK for photographers who are setting up their business and are at the beginning of their journey to support each other?
Gosh,
now, there's a lot of content, and most of them is not very good, I'm afraid, on the internet. It's very misleading, so be careful as to what you read and believe on the net, because all is not true. That's to start with.
Yeah. Well, Kirsty, the good news is, and you and many others now are probably going to have an insight into this before we've launched it. But this has bothered me also, Kirsty, and for people like Ben. So for the Bens of the world, for the Kirstys of the world, and the Jennies juggling of the world, we're about to launch a Facebook page called Aspire to Be, and it's going to be for like a notice board of education. It's going to be a place where we deposit knowledge at all times, and as Oz said, everybody needs a place to be mentored for. It's going to be a safe place to share. Oz knows me very well, and I won't tolerate bad behaviour. It's not how you be in business, and it's certainly not one of my measures of how people should perform. So if you could bear with us, Kirsty, Aspire to Be is only moments away, and other places of which to hang out are on. There's a really lovely group of sorry Ben, but it's a lovely group of women, and it's a really lovely group of women called She Clicks, and they are an amazing group of female photographers that are very, very supportive to each other, and I do admire how they behave. On LinkedIn, there's a group called Women Photographers UK, and they are a fabulous group, very supportive. It's on LinkedIn. I'm a member. I get a lot from it, so I could recommend you those too. But if you want Kirsty to private message me, I'll send you a couple of other links. I smiled as Oz did, because we're both too alert to, sometimes on Facebook, and this frustrates us both, and this is why we're doing what we're doing. And not just on Facebook, actually, that information can be misleading and not appropriate and not fair for those coming into the industry. So I think you're safe in Oz's hands, you're safe with She Clicks, and you're safe with other links of which I'll send you, and you definitely would be very safe on Aspire to Be. Yeah, good question.
Brilliant. Thank you. Now, a lot of you have sent in, where do we find the link for the forthcoming webinar series, which myself and Catherine are hosting from next month. I sent you two links. Please ignore the first one. That was the wrong one. So I've resent you the correct one, which is correct, and you can log on. And I've sent you the discount code as well, which will save you $30. So the total price is $67 for 6 hours. Probably will be more by the time we finish. We'll be hosting a series of webinars on how to do your keyword research, how to create a killer landing page so that you don't waste time on cost per or pay-per-click advertising, marketing to your list, how to create a business that can attract the right clients, refining your marketing approaches, and the timeline in your business. So lots and lots of great content on there. So I hope you can make that. We'll be hosting it once every week for an hour or so, and you will get time to absorb that information and apply to it before the next sessions start. So if you do have any questions, myself and Catherine would be more than happy to answer them for you.
Brilliant.
Brilliant, Catherine. Thanks ever so much.
Oh no, thank you, for everybody this evening sharing this evening together and with us, and the vibe and the spirit in this group is absolutely fantastic. Any problems in the meantime, Kirsty, private message me on Facebook, email me here at Aspire. both Oz and I are very accessible. We're not people that sit on thrones and hide ourselves out of the industry. We're two that have thrown ourselves wholeheartedly into this industry. So feel free to email and we will respond. Both of us would.
Yeah, and you'll be receiving an email within the hour from me with the details of Catherine's Facebook page. So please do log on there and connect with her if you already haven't. Thank you everyone for logging in this evening. Hope you enjoyed it and got lots and lots of great information from Catherine. Catherine, I can't thank you enough. It's been a pleasure.
No problem. And thank you. And if Roberto from Beverly Hills is still with us, it's been really nice for him to have an insight through Oz and I of our UK audience and the tribe of which we serve. They're a lovely gang, Roberto, and you'll love them. All
Brilliant.
right, thanks all.
With that, we take your leave. Take care and God bless and good night, everyone.
All right, you too.